In the world of chess, the mid-game is where the battle truly unfolds, with each move carrying the weight of strategy, adaptability, and innovation. But what if I told you that the very tactics that define the art of chess could transform the way you approach software development? Welcome back to Frankly Developing. I'm your host Frank, and today in this episode of Chess Codes, we're going to dive into the heart of the game, the mid-game tactics. But it's not just about chess, it's about enhancing our software projects and with the wisdom gleaned from centuries of strategic play. In chess, the mid-game is the place where the true test of strategy and adaptability happens. It's not about making the moves as you planned them, but about how do you respond to the situation on the board. You need to adapt to what your opponent does and how the game evolves. So who is our opponent in software development? Well, there's something like a constant, and that is change. We have changing requirements, we have a change in technologies, the people we work with. There's always some kind of change, and we also need to adapt to the changing landscape of the game. What happens if you find out that your program is too slow with the technologies you chose? You may need to adapt to new ones. What if the very product idea you're building doesn't seem to work out and you need to change it to get a better market fit? How do you respond to such changes? It's the same like a chess player. You may have a plan, but you still need to adapt to the situation at hand. Another interesting parallel is that in the mid-game of chess, you have to make decisions under uncertainty. You may advance a pawn to open up some lines for your other pieces, but you don't know if it will lead to a tactical advantage or maybe a vulnerability later on. And similarly in development, you have to make decisions without this certainty available. You try something, you hope for this new library to bring up the speed of development, and you weigh the potential gains against the risks. What you have just seen is another typical example of what happens in mid-games. It's a game of patterns. There are certain patterns like the fork or the pin that you can apply to put more pressure on your opponent. If you can find them, they become very useful. In a lot of games, you can apply them. And just like that, we do it in software development. We have certain patterns that are really useful because they often help you in difficult situations. And we have a whole catalog of them, like the builder, the decorator, the command pattern. But it's important to know them, just like in chess, when you want to find that move that pins the opponent's knight to the queen. Well, you have to know that this is an interesting thing to do. And in software development, you have to learn these patterns, so you know that you can pull them out when needed. How aggressive is your playstyle? In chess, you can play very aggressively, or very defensively, or anywhere in between. And in software development, how's your style there? You can also be very aggressive, pushing for that new feature to bring it to market as soon as possible, and also building up technical debt on the way, which might be a problem. Just like being overly aggressive in chess may lose you the game because you build up way too many weaknesses to defend yourself. If you push too hard on software development, you seem to make a lot of progress at the cost of eventually the whole house of cards falling down. But if you play very defensively, it's the same problem. If you play super defensively, you're basically being attacked all time long. In software development, if you're very defensive, well, you're not going to get a lot of progress. If you do everything very, very accurately and double, triple and quadruple check it, well, it's just costing you a lot of money and you will probably never earn enough money to make up for that again. When you start a game of chess, You have a whole catalog of openings that you can learn and be prepared, so you know what to do and how to act. I've got a whole video covering that for you. Just like we do it in software development, you can be prepared. You can study this, you can learn about all the tools and the techniques, and once you're ready to go, you have a solid foundation. Yet once you reach the mid-game, you have to focus to make progress. You need to continuously update your game, your plans, adapt to things, avoid distractions. And as a developer, it's just the same thing. You have to continuously develop new features, but avoid getting bogged down in technical debt. You want to clean up and refactor things as much as needed to be able to keep moving. So it's a constant balance, a back and forth, and generally a battle just like in chess. I hope you'll enjoy these parallels. If you do, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and comment what you think is the most important parallel between chess and software development for you. We'll continue the series on the endgame, but of course we have an entire playlist on the parallels between this strategic game of the kings and our working life as software developers.